I have had an interesting day. I been arrested twice today, and I'm either completely stupid and crazy, or we have a huge problem. Because I know that it's not just Idaho. I know that it's all over, and I don't want to, drag this on too long. But basically, many of you know, in August I went to a special legislative session at the Capitol building in Idaho, where the governor was trying to make himself immune from the COVID decisions and all the terrible things he's done to Idaho. The governor's received, we know, of $8.1 billion. He put the state of Idaho under martial law, under Code 46601, which basically says that all the government of Idaho is under the governor. And then he did exactly what the federal government wanted him to do, and he's received $8.1 billion. And he has made his own proclamation saying that he gets to spend that money at his pleasure. And if you don't believe me, go to his Order 2020-07, Governor Little of State of Idaho, Order 2020-07, where he says that he's putting together this committee that serve at the pleasure of the governor, and the governor's office is going to spend all the coronavirus funds that they received from the federal government, which is $8.1 billion that we know of. He suspended the rest of the Idaho government, the legislatures, and he's basically running amok here in Idaho. And so in August, this was months ago, this was 8+ months ago, he tried to pass a bill that would make himself immune from any of his COVID decisions. And we went, and the governor and the Speaker of the House targeted me, and originally thought it was the pro temp as well in the Senate, but we've kind of realized with all the discovery and all the letters and emails and fax and stuff that we've got through discovery, we now know that it was the Speaker of the House and the governor. And they targeted me and had me arrested in August twice and trespassed me from the Capitol building. They did that so that I wouldn't, influence the legislatures to end the emergency orders and the martial law that the governor has put the state of Idaho in, so that he can continue to receive billions of dollars and have the government under his control. And that's what this is all about. So, then I began to fight my case. Many of you know they denied us trial for months and months and months, clear from August 2020 to March 15th of 2021. They wouldn't give us a trial because they said that jury trials have been suspended in Idaho. Imagine that. Jury trials have been suspended in Idaho. Then, because we kept pushing and insisting that we get a trial, finally, 7 months later, they give us, actually more than that, but yeah, I know about 7 months later, they give us a trial date on March 15th, and we go to show up at the trial, and they arrest us for not coming in without a mask. We were down there, they wouldn't let us in, and they give a warrant for failure to appear for me and myself and Aaron, one other guy who's going through this with me. So we go to the courthouse, we try to get in, they will not let us in, they block us from coming in, and then they file a warrant for our arrest for failure to appear to our own trial. So anyway, that happened. We also been, fighting and litigating, and we found that there was a bunch of corruption in what happened when they arrested me, of course. And we found clearly that the Director of Administration didn't have authority. He was acting basically as a pawn for the governor. But he didn't have authority to trespass us in the Senate gallery. So, make a long story short, we exposed that, uncovered it, we filed a motion, and we had that charge dismissed. So now I only had one trespassing charge. Well, so then today, I had a meeting over there by the Capitol building, and I thought, well, Now that trespassing charge has been dismissed, and that was the only written authority that they claimed, and also we knew that Bedke, the House Speaker of the House, didn't have authority. So I'm going to go into the Capitol building and I'm going to find out what authority they have, and I'm going to test it. So I went in there, and ultimately the ISP surrounded me, and I asked them, by what authority are you doing this? And they couldn't answer me. They wouldn't answer me. And they put handcuffs on me and arrested me, drugged me out of the Capitol building, took me down to Ada County. The entire time I'm asking, you need to show me authority. You don't have proper authority. You need to show me the authority in which you are trespassing me for. And they wouldn't and couldn't. So then I sat in the cop car at the jail in the little Sallyport area. I sat in there quite a while, and I could tell that they were doing something, going back and forth. And then on their computer in the front seat, I noticed that the director of administration, which is Keith Reynolds, I noticed that the letter that he trespassed us with showed up or popped up on the screen. And then so then when they came, I asked them, well, what authority? And they said, the authority under the director of administration. That's what we're arresting you for. Well, that case had been dismissed. That is the very case that been dismissed because of, they didn't have authority in the first place, and the court the prosecutors had to recognize that, and they dismissed the case. And so he's telling me that he's getting authority to arrest me now. This is what the ISP officers, they're getting authority to arrest me now because of a case that's been dismissed. And so, I was like, wait a minute, that isn't right. So they booked me and did all the things, and I bailed out, got a ride, went right back to the Capitol building, and sat there. I went up on the Senate side and sat in the Senate, right by the Senate entrances, just sat there. And here comes Idaho State Police Blake Higley, who is the governor's personal security sergeant. And he comes over there, and he basically says, round two, huh? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm just wanting to know what authority you have to trespass me on. And he says he couldn't give it to me. And then he went over and he started talking on the phone for a little while. And I'm just sitting there. And then he comes back over, and I said, so did you find out what authority you're trying to trespass me on? Because he said, at this point, I was detained. And he says, I don't need authority. That's what he says. I don't have to have authority, I think were his exact words. I don't have to have authority. So you're just going to trespass me, put me in handcuffs, drag me out of the Capitol building during a session. During a session and during normal business hours, that was fully open, you're going to drag me out of the Capitol building again in handcuffs for the second time in one day, and you never had authority and you couldn't quote authority. So then I said, well, does a person have a right to protest in the Capitol building? And he says, yeah. I said, so why are you arresting me? And then he says, well, we're arresting you for trespassing. And I said, well, by whose authority? Because it's very clear in Idaho law that you have to have the proper authority from either the Speaker of the House, the pro temp for the Senate, or the administration, depending on where you're at in the Capitol building. And so I'm asking, what authority? And he just couldn't answer me. He wouldn't answer me. The only answer he gave me when it comes to authority is that he didn't need any. He didn't need any authority to arrest me. So anyhow, now I have been arrested 5 times now. 5 times for simply trying to participate in a representative government. And, I don't know what else to do. I can't even get to a jury. The Idaho Supreme Court now has suspended jury trials again the very next business day after I tried to get into the courtroom. They suspended jury trials again. I mean, imagine that. That's a constitutional protected right. The right of the people to have a jury, a fair and public jury, a speedy and public jury. Now we're looking at 8+ months I've still never been given a jury, and I'm not going to ever get one. Really, it looks like that. And then when they set a date and I go to participate, they say that I have to comply to a mask and other things, which I can't morally do. And so we're in trouble. And I know that Idaho is not the same. Idaho is not the only place doing this. Idaho is not the only state, in fact, where the governor put the people of the state in a martial law situation. I mean, I want you to look up Idaho 46601, the code. It is a martial law code. And that code is the one that the governor has used to give authority to every one of his proclamations. And in that authority, or in that code, if you keep reading down, it'll say that all the government is under the governor, including the policing of powers of the state. It's complete dictatorship. It's complete dictatorship. And the thing about Idaho law is it only says that the governor can do certain things under martial law, and it only says that he can hold it for 30 days and then another 30 days if necessary. It doesn't say it can be indefinite. Now we've been in this martial law for almost 13 months. Actually, we're on close almost to 14 months. We're going on 14 months. We've been in martial law here in Idaho because of COVID. COVID, right? So anyhow, I just wanted to express my frustration because these are serious things. And I'm either so crazy that I've lost it, completely lost it, that I would go down and challenge these things and get arrested over and over and act like I should be able to have a jury trial, act like I should be able to have, a fair shot at trying to defend myself against these criminals. Either I'm completely crazy or we've got a really, really big problem. And, I've been trying to do my best at warning people and showing people and exposing people what this COVID is all about. It is about force. It is about taking the rights of the people away, you and I. It is about, they use it for everything, excuse for everything. Excuse not to have a jury trial. Excuse to not to have hearings. Excuse to just completely trample on the rights of the people. Excuse to arrest you here and arrest you there. Excuse to destroy the liberties of the people of an entire state and then try to get immunity at a special legislative session. And then an excuse to arrest people that show up peacefully show up and just try to make a difference. So anyway, I'm either absolutely insane and I've lost my mind, or we've got a big problem. And the people need to make a decision on what that is, because I'm getting tired. I'm about ready to say the hell with everybody. Literally, the hell with everybody. I'm tired of going to jail and standing up, and I'm grateful for the small amount of people that have stood up with me. But why can't people see the danger of what's happening? I wish I would have never, ever read a history book or the Constitution. That's how I feel sometimes. Because then I could feel like, oh, there's no problem, I'll just put on a mask. I'll just comply. There's no problem here. But no, these are serious things that have happened before over and over. These are not the beginnings. We're in the middle. The middle to the coming up to the end of basically when people lose complete power over themselves and over their freedom. And people just don't seem to care. I'm not trying to be pessimistic or a downer, but we have to wake up. We have to wake up. I mean, I don't want to live in a dictatorship any longer. I don't want to pass this on to my children. So, anyway, you get to decide, I guess. Either I'm insane or we've got a big problem.